Can you hear me? Okay, perfect. Okay. Today we're going to do the question 7. Did you do the question 6 and 3? We did this in the last class. The last class we did it over here. এই যে এখানে তো করেছিলাম আমরা question 6, right? Hmm? What to do? Okay. So we're going to be doing question 7 today. Probably you're the only one who's going to join, which is good. We have time to go one-on-one. Any questions, we can solve them. Question 7. Compare how the writers of text 1 and text 2 present their ideas and perspectives about journeys. So what we need to look into is that they are asking, or the examiner is asking you to talk about how they convey their ideas when it comes to journey. Is the journey good? Is the journey bad? What is their main primary source, primary choice of travel? How do they describe it and all that kind of stuff? মনে আছে? So you should remember question 7, and we've seen a very common structure that we normally follow, and that is like you talk about an introduction, and you're gonna have a paragraph 1 where you're going to talk about a particular point from text 1, and then you're going to talk about a particular point from text 2, and then explain the similarities and differences. And you do the same thing. You do the same thing for paragraph 2, paragraph 3, and you do the same thing. Also, we normally talk about the intro, like the beginning when it comes to the first paragraph. This could be any paragraph you desire, text, so long it's from the text. And this is normally, last paragraph is dedicated to kind of like the last part of the text. Then you have the conclusion, that 1-line, 2-line conclusion that we always give. And that should be it. So, question 7, in a nutshell, is it looks something like this. ঠিক আছে? So now let's get into the text. মনে আছে টেক্সটে কি ছিল? পড়েছিলাম আমরা এটা লাস্ট ক্লাসে। কিছু মনে আছে টেক্সটে নিয়ে কি কি কথা হচ্ছিল, রাইট? বাস এন্ড একজন কার ট্রাভেল করেছিল। You should remember something, right? কিছু তো মনে থাকা উচিত, নাকি ভুলে গিয়েছো? You forgot? Oh my god. আচ্ছা. The first text was about somebody went to a African countryside, a journey করতে গিয়েছে. Her text was formal and it was very disgusting. কেন? Because it was a boring trip. The trip was described with very negative tones, negative adjectives, and overall we saw that the writer had a very rusty journey, a very rough journey. But the ending was described in a very beautiful tone. But text 2, on the other hand, was informal, and text 2 the writer কি করছিল? রিডার্সদেরকে different ধরনের travel দেখাচ্ছিল, যে don't stop traveling with your car, go find other means of traveling, and she had a very light-hearted tone. Okay? So we will, this is, we can get that thing away. Okay. So let us write the introduction. How will we start? Remember, we start with a very common title, and one of the things is both of them talk about what do they talk about? Both of them are talking about going on a trip, right? Road trip এখানে করেছিল. Writer 1 road trip এ গিয়েছে. So both of them are going on a road trip. So we can talk about that. We can say that both writers in the texts talk about the same, about a very similar topic, about a, or this is one way of saying it, or you could say both in texts share a common topic, এটা আরেকভাবে বলা যায়, which is, this is a topic name you come up with, right? Going on a road trip. This can be seen from the context, or you could say that the title of the text one, of the text one, of the text one বলতে পারি আমরা, and from the title, of text 2, ঠিক না? বললাম আমরা text 1 এর context থেকে এটা আমরা পেয়েছি, text 2 এর title থেকে পেয়েছি. You could reverse the process if you want to. That's not a biggie. Okay? Get it. Now, what was text 1? Text 1 was written by William Boyd. I think that's how you pronounce it. And William Boyd describes about the journey. Now, this is a little tricky. নভেলটা হচ্ছে উইলিয়াম বয়েডের, কিন্তু ন্যারেটর হচ্ছে একজন জিনিস হচ্ছে, this journey was done by the woman, some African woman, and William Boyd is the one writing this article. So that's it's just a weird curveball, but sure. And this is a formal text. We can say this, right? So we're going to say, এই স্টুডেন্টের এটা এখনো কেন এখানে? Doesn't it go? There you go. Okay. Now we're gonna say text 1 is, what was text 1? It was a novel. Text 1 is a novel written, বানান হয়নি, I know, by, make sure you're writing, William Boyd, in which, what does William Boyd talk about? He describes about his ideas and persecution, perspective, I know, on going to, what was the place? What was the beach name? Brazzaville Beach. Right? Whereas, what was the text 2? Whereas, text 2 is written by, I remember the name of the writer, Sasha Yanshin. ঠিক না? Sasha Yanshin. In which, Sasha কি নিয়ে কথা বলে? It was an adversary text, was it not? Where she talks about different ways on going on trips, on different ways of going to trips, and offers a wide spectrum of other alternatives to car travel to the readers. What does this do? Persuading them and convincing them via convincing them by presenting the benefits of traveling by other means. I'm gonna fix that in a moment. Wait. Okay. Text 1 ছিল আমাদের formal, right? Text 1 maintains a formal, text 1 and 2 maintains a formal and informal tone, respectively, to keep their designated desig, designated audiences engaged. একটু পড়ি দেখি। Both writers in the text share a common topic, which is going on a road trip. ঠিক আছে? This can be seen from the context of text 1 and from the title of text 2. Text 1 is a novel written by William Boyd, in which he describes about his ideas and perspective on going to a Brazil beach. Whereas text 2 is written by Sasha Yanshin, in which he talks about the different ways of going to trips and offers a wide spectrum of other alternatives to car travel to the readers, persuading them and convincing them by presenting the benefits of traveling. But this feels repetitive. Persuading them and convincing them using facts and advices. We've seen her using facts, right? এখানে facts use করেছিল when she says they have Wi-Fi and all those kind of stuff, right? বলেছিল না, some buses have Wi-Fi, charging ports, air conditioning. So she is persuading the readers using facts. Why is the key? Oh, physics. Okay, right? That's good. Now, what can we say? This is the first introduction. I hope there's no question with the introduction. Okay. Now we're going to move on to the first paragraph. Questions আছে introduction নিয়ে? বুঝেছো? Did you write this? Okay. তাড়াতাড়ি লিখি আমরা. Let's bring it down here. Okay. Now we'll be talking about paragraph 1. Okay. Now, let's talk about both of them were talking about the experience of traveling. Right? And so we saw that writer 1 was using stuff like saying stuff like, I rather enjoyed the drive. I had done this 3 times before. Stuff like that, right? So he's a credible man. He's a credible man, and he's describing the journey in this positive way. So we're gonna say this. Remember that statement. Both of them talk about the same thing, but the way they do it and why they do it differs, right? Both texts talk about traveling in great details, but their level of emphasis and what can I say, purpose differs significantly. That would be our statement. Now, let's build upon this statement. In text 1, William, how did he describe? William shares his ideas and perspective. The text asks that. Ideas and perspective about his trip, perspective to on his trip, of his trip. কি বলা যায়? Using the phrase, I rather enjoy the drive, which indicating এটা কি ইন্ডিকেট করে? Indicating that he found the trip to his liking or um, well pleasurable. ঠিক না? এটা বলা যায়। Now, we see the fact that he is enjoying his drive, but then a paragraph later we see the fact that stuff become bad here. Now this is a contrast. Now, I taught you guys that there are a lot of devices that indicate a type of contrast. What is the device that, oh god, it's one of those weird burps. Oh, it's terrible. What is the contrast on a paragraph level? Meaning the writer says something in the start of one paragraph, and at the end of that paragraph, or even in the next paragraph, he says something completely different that contradicts what he said. It's at the contrast. This is a contrast. But what is a better version? What's the better name for this type of contrast? Do you know? Do you know what it's called? You should know. It starts with a J. I hope that helps. Nothing? Nothing. শুনুনি, very important এটা। বললাম যে normally one line, like you say something over here and then next line you say something that contradicts what you just said. That's a contrast. Writer এখানে বলছে সে অনেক পছন্দ করছে, right? The right is beautiful, nothing could go wrong. And then in paragraph everything becomes wrong. Everything is negative. This is a huge contrast. What is the device called that is a contrast on a paragraph level? Paragraph শুরুতে writer একটা কথা বলে, and at the next paragraph or at the end of the paragraph he says something completely different. Juxtaposition. Yes, it's a device. Very important. If you can't pick up on on these devices now, it's gonna be a difficult thing, right? So we should be able to see these by now. So we can say this. J. However, his further description of the surrounding juxtaposes this claim. Like when he describes his journey with the term unchanging. Remember, he said that. Unchanging, right? The word unchanging. The word, I'm not going to write that. Unchanging. What does it suggest? How boring, William, how boring, the writer. Oh my god, I'm gonna cry. Found. It's a boring. He thought it's a really boring thing. The scenery doesn't change. It's unchanging. The writer found the scenery to be. And this claim is further, or this point is further cemented by the use of the negative adjectives. What were the negative adjectives? Dry, scrubland, patchy. ठीक ना? Dry, scrubland, and what was the other word? Patchy. Right? Which all indicates a hostile and hostile বলবা? বলতে পারো hostile, desolate, desolate, and unwelcoming. The atmosphere. Which juxtaposes this claim. Like when he describes the journey, okay, journey with the claim, with the term unchanging. The word, why there are two words? Holy God. The word unchanging suggests how boring the writer found the scenery to be. And this point is further, point is further cemented by his use of negative adjectives like dry, scrubland, and patchy, which all indicates a hostile, desolate, and unwelcoming atmosphere. Did that settle in? Did you understand how I came up with that answer? I hope you did. Gallo. Furthermore, you could add করতে পারি if you did want the risk of robbery. There was an uncertainty, right? We can also use we could talk about that simile if you want, where we saw the writer saying it was like crossing between two frontier. We could use it if you want. Let's talk about it. Moreover, he uses the simile, this whole thing. Of course, we're gonna make that short. And what does this do? Simile, to underscore his raw emotions and to give a sense of how these trips always makes him juggle with his with his emotions. Emotions, his raw expression. Now, I don't want to give two emotions. It sounds as if I don't know any English. To underscore his raw emotions, to give a sense of how these trips always make him juggle with different personalities. What do you want to say? Help me, help me, help me, help me out, help me out. কি বলা যায় এখানে? To underscore his emotions, his raw emotions and sense. বলেন। কোথায় হারাই গেছো? বলো, 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 where do you lose me? আর copy করো না। You know what? Stop copying. Don't copy. Leave it. Leave it. I don't want you to be lost in copying and then not understand and lose what I'm saying. No, no, no. Follow what I'm saying. দেখো, we're still talking how he's describing the initial phase of his journey, right? So এখানে দেখেছি যে he said that it was like crossing a border, right? Blah 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 states of mind. এটা কি বোঝাচ্ছে? It's like he's saying যে whenever I'm doing this journey, whenever I find myself in this trip, I always have to juggle with my emotions. What does it show? What does it show? Right? To underscore his raw emotions and to give a sense of how these trips always boost the writer and make him juggle with his emotions. Make him juggle with his emotions. Underscores how a particular day juggle with his raw emotions. বলে দেই, raw emotions. Okay. I think there's some students who are joining. Yes. Hello. কি অবস্থা তোমার? Okay. এই এটা এসে পড়ছে কেন? Okay. So এটা লেখা যায়. Now, let's say similarly, in text 2, Osika, for context, We are doing question 7 right now of the January 2022 regional paper. This is so far. This is what we've written so far. There you go. Introduction of paragraph 1 টা লিখে ফেলেছি আমরা খালি. We haven't even finished paragraph 1. We're on the process. Okay? So buckle in. Okay, similarly, text 2 কি হবে? Text 2 is also talks about how the journey goes, right? Writer journey কিরকম, what kind of journey she's talking about, journey টা কিভাবে describe করা হয়েছে, breathtaking use করেছে, right? This is how she's describing how journeys or road trips can be. And what we see is Sasha's description of journeys seem to be more optimistic, seem to be more vigilant. What was the word? Vigorating, right? It's breathtaking, stunning scenic routes, snowy peaks. It's like a dream. The description gula, it's everything a traveler could ever dream for, could ever want. And that's the difference. Writer 1, text 1, the writer talks about how here's the thing. I personally think the writer 1-er description of a road trip seems to be very accurate. Why so? Well, before you go on a road trip, you have high expectation. You have lots of expectation, good expectation. But then garito and then this happens, that happens, and it's really not that. It's not so perfect the way writer 2 describes road trips. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, how do we put it in words? Well, in text 2, the writer, what was her name? Sasha, also talks extensively about traveling. But unlike text 1, or unlike William, but text 1 William, unlike text 1 কি হয়েছিল? Where the writer কি নিয়ে কথা বলেছিল? এখানে একটা জিনিস খেয়াল করো. One of the difference between the two writers is that writer 1 is going on a road trip for work. She's not going on a road trip for fun. She's going on a road trip for work. Writer 2 বলছে go on a road trip to be adventurous. That's a big difference. And we see যে দেখেছি আমরা writer 1 বলেছিল এখানে to be adventurous should you like to stop in small towns and see places you wouldn't have otherwise visited. She's encouraging the readers to be explorative. Wait, did she join? Do we have anyone? No. Okay. নকশি মনে ক্লাস আছে, আজকে জয়েন করতে পারবে না। So এটা একটা ডিফারেন্স আমরা দেখতে পেরেছি। Writer 1 goes on a road trip for work. এটা খুবই বড় একটা this is something that distinguishes between these two texts, and this is a point you should notice. Whereas text 2 কি করছে? She's like, nah, just go on a road trip. Buckle up, go on a road trip, enjoy yourself. এরকম একটা কথা বলছে। So Sasha কি করছে? Sasha in her text, এটা কি text ছিল না article ছিল? In her article talks about traveling and going on road trips for fun or pleasure, and for the unforgettable experience. Her use of emotive language or emotive descriptions. Emotive descriptions. Descriptions like breathtaking বলেছিল writer. Breathtaking and the sibilance. এই সিবিলেন্সটা বলেছিল super scenic routes. যে রাউটগুলো যে আমরা normally when you're going on a road trip, we take the routes for granted. He's saying, no, route-gulo মজা, route-gulo interesting. Enjoy the routes as well. It's not the scene. The scene is breathtaking as it is. It's perfect. But the routes are also fun. Enjoy, just experiment, take different routes. You'll explore new things. এরকম একটা খুব explorative একটা কেমন পাচ্ছ, energy পাচ্ছি. It's very sugary energy from her. The sibilance, super scenic, empowers this notion or empowers this point that the writer wants the readers to go and explore and to be adventurous. Oh my god, how do you spell adventurous? Wait. Adventurous. There you go. Right? This is something text 1 doesn't talk about. Text 1 is like, oh, he went, he or she, whatever the hell the gender is, they went on a road trip. How boring the road trip was. There's nothing much about it. And all the description was hostile, just desolate place, unwelcoming. It's not really fun. It's not interesting. Okay. And D record হচ্ছে আমাদের. Don't worry. এটা E. Fine, no problem. Good night. এটা record হয়ে যাবে. You can go and check it on the channel. Bye-bye. Good night. Okay. And to be adventurous. ঠিক আছে? Then what we can say, এটা কি বলা যায় আর, her use of emotive descriptions like breathtaking and the sibilance, super scenic, empowers this point that the writer wants the readers, or the writer না বলে এখানে Sasha বলি চলো, that Sasha wants the readers to go and explore and to be adventurous. This message was not delivered by William in his text. Right? A message to William and text থেকে পড়ে পাইনি. His text is more boring. It's more professional. In fact, এখানে আমরা বলেছি for work, you could say that it was writer 1 goes on a road trip for professional work. Or for work, it's sufficient work বললেই হবে. Right? That's something we can definitely talk about. And again, the word যে বলেছিলাম না breathtaking টা বারবার repeat হয়েছিল. Adventurous, right? And to solidify how the views were to solidify the fact that the views and sights the trips had to offer, the writer repeats or uses repetition. The writer repeats the adjective breathtaking. এটা কি বুঝতে পেরেছো না আসফি? Look, she used the word breathtaking here once. Breathtaking উপরে কোথাও ইউজ করেছিল এক জায়গায় হবে somewhere. And এখানে কোথাও ইউজ করেছিল I believe breathtaking wordটা দুইবার এই জায়গায় ইউজ করেছে. Why is she using breathtaking views? মানে viewsটা যে কতটা powerful. The view is unforgettable. এটা দেখতে পারো. It's so unforgettable. She keeps using the word breathtaking, so it rings in your head. All right? এটা ভাবে লিখতে পারি. The fact that the site had to offer were truly unforgettable. The writer repeats the adjective throughout her text or article. This message was, however, this message was not delivered or pointed out by William in his text. Does this make sense? Yes? No? I think yes. Okay. Next, moving on to to the second paragraph, which is now second paragraph আমরা কি নিয়ে কথা বলবো? That's a question, right? We talked about this paragraph was about types of trip and description. ঠিক না? Okay. Now, let's see. এটা আমরা এখানে অনেকটা দিয়ে ফেলেছি। টেক্সট 1টা খুবই monotonous ভাবে describe করেছে, right? দেখি কি লেখা যায়। আচ্ছা, এখানে একটু repetitive লাগতে পারে। I'm gonna try my best so it doesn't. We're gonna talk about how she describes the rest of the journey, right? So both writers are seen describing their respective describing their trips quite extensively. However, their descriptions vary significantly. Okay. William, in text 1, describes the village as being. Oh, what did he describe the village being like? Oh, William is a text 1, right? William কিভাবে describe করেছিল? As empty, right? বলেছিল না এটা? Losing energy. That's not good. William said something like, what? William describes the village and the town being isolated and old-fashioned. We see him using the adjectives or phrases fully. What were the phrases he used? Cluster of mud, hut thatched fonts. Let's use just one. Ramshackle buildings, right? Ramshackle buildings, এটা বলতে পারি. And empty shops. These two things would suggest negativity. Phrases, ramshackle, empty shops, and কি? Ramshackle buildings, right? Which all connote to a poorly built society or poorly built town. He shows safety concerns when he says there was he shows safety concerns when he says showing that the The village was um, a dangerous place to be at night. During the dark hours, we can say that he describes the bridge being broken and very old, right? The roads even of the town were deep ditches, right? And the what? Ichilo? And how the bridge was ancient, and the roads. How did he describe the roads? He used the word deep ditches. Deep ditches. And the roads having deep ditches, suggesting how uneven কি deep ditches কি বোঝায়? The alliteration আমি এটা ঠিক করছি, I'll fix it in a moment, just watch. The alliteration, deep ditches, I'll make this better. In deep ditches, what does it do? Connotes to how unsurfaced the roads were. Again, raising safety concerns of the town. ঠিক না? এখানে একটু পড়ি, let's fix it. I'm just writing the points and then we'll fix it later. William in text 1 describes the village and the town being isolated and old-fashioned. We see him using the phrases empty shops and ramshackle buildings, which all connote to a poorly built town, which all connotes to how the town is disintegrating. But let's see. He shows safety concerns when he says that there is risk of darkness, showing that the village was dangerous place to be at night, and how the bridge was ancient and the roads having deep ditches. The alliteration, deep ditches, connotes to again and again raising safety concerns of the town. Right? So এটা দেখতে পাচ্ছি his description, wherever he was going to visit, it wasn't a safe place. Do we have time? I think the timer started. Okay, we will have to finish this within the time limit. I don't think we can finish the whole thing, but let's see. Right? We see this. Now, conversely, we can say conversely. Right? Conversely. Or whereas in text 2, writer কিভাবে কথা বলেছিল? The writer he describes. What does she describe? The writer describes about different types or forms, different types of experience, bully. Different types of experience, right? Experiences, and her view, different type of experiences, different types of road trips had to offer. এটা দেখতে পাচ্ছি আমরা. Yes, we can say this. And her tone towards traveling, or her view বলি, tone towards her traveling is alliteration থাকুক. Traveling is more optimistic, or is brighter than Williams. Right? Why do we say this? She describes. How did she describe on going on trips? বলেছিল এখানে কোথায় জানি, relaxing wordটা বলেছিল, if you recall, right? No, she say it though. কোথায় জানি বলেছিল relaxing. কোথায় বলেছিল? রাইটার বলেছিল তো, আমরা লিখেছি তো, relaxing. She described it as relaxing. So you're relaxing. Does it look like text 1 the writer was relaxing? No, he was sweating. He was peeing his pants. He was sweating the whole journey. Uncertain, safety concerns. where she describes, এটা আমরা বলতে পারি, I know all the points, we wrote this in last class. She describes কি কি বলে, she describes traveling or going on trips as relaxing. Now that's something you want to do, you want to relax, right? And furthermore, what else can we say? I'm going to take recall. Furthermore, um কি ইউজ করেছিল রাইটার, আমরা একটু আবার এটা পড়ি। একটা alliteration ইউজ করেছিল মনে আছে, এটা খুঁজতেছি কোথায় ইউজ করেছিল রাইটার। একটা alliteration ইউজ করেছিল না, ওই যে মাউন্টেন্স নিয়ে কথা বলছিল রাইটার, এটা কোথায় বলেছিল, এই যে এই যে কান্ট্রি প্যাথস, মাউন্টেন ট্র্যাকস এন্ড thick ফরেস্ট, এটা ট্রাইকোলন। এই ট্রাইকোলনটা দিয়ে রাইটার দেখাচ্ছে যে হাউ বিউটিফুল, হাউ serene your journey can be, এটা দেখাচ্ছে আমাদের রাইটার এখানে। Furthermore, in her text she depicts how some sceneries are astonishing and majestic with the use of the tricolon or triplet. Some people call it both, right? এটা দেখতে পাচ্ছি আমরা এখানে। Now what does it do? Country pad mantra, এটা একটা পজিটিভলি দেখাচ্ছে, পজিটিভ একটা মাইন্ডসেট, right? This shows the positive mindset of the writer, and that she thinks traveling has more pros, not really, advantages, it's going to sound informal, advantages over disadvantages, right? So at least দেখতে পাচ্ছি আমরা, writer 1 is telling us that traveling could be nice, right? এগুলো বলতেছে এখানে, whereas writer 1 doesn't really show anything positive in his text. Like there's a lot of disadvantages, বুঝলাম, but I mean the scenery is boring, I get it, but at least talk something nice about it. You know, his description is very it's demotivating for anyone who wants to travel, for anyone who wants to go on a road trip, because there isn't any proper description other than the sun, the setting sun, right? Twilight she described করেছে in a very beautiful manner. But if you were to compare this with his description of the entire text, the village was described as a negative thing. It almost feels as if the writer was regretting, she or he regretted coming, agreeing in the first place to kind of, be a part of this trip. We see that. We get this sense from his writing, from his description. Whereas text two, I could imagine the writer jumping in her bed and going, let's go on an adventure. Grab your bags, get your goggles, let's go for an adventure. একটা কেমন একটা adventurous tone পাচ্ছি writer 1 থেকে, writer 2 থেকে. All right, I hope that makes sense. Okay. So this was our paragraph 2. Now, you are going to write the paragraph 3. Excited? Nope. I think you meant yes. Okay. Paragraph 2 chilo. Give me a minute. I'll be back in a jiffy. But I think yes. I think we'll leave the recording up until paragraph 2. Paragraph 3 and the conclusion will be recorded in the next class, perhaps, if time allows. Okay.